Afternoon YouTube. Now today I'm going to put the vintage Hit Parade receiver back together, and then at the end I will put some speakers on it and see if this little receiver is now working. So this is like the third video I've done on this receiver. I've done one where I've been right through it with deoxing, and I've done another one where I was fault finding on it, and I did find some problems with this one that hopefully I've put right, because when I first got this it wasn't doing anything. It had no power. When you turned it on it done nothing. But I did find a problem with the lead that I put right on it, and now it does seem to have power going round it, although I have not tested it for sound yet. So once it is all back together I shall do that at the end. I shall put speakers on it and see if we are getting any sound out of the Hit Parade now. Hopefully we will be. And I have spent a little bit of time cleaning up the faceplate, and I gave the knobs a little bit of a clean, so the front of it is all ready to go back on and all nice and clean, because it was a little bit dirty on this one, but it's cleaned up nice, the front of this receiver. And apart from a couple of little tiny marks on it, this faceplate is in really good condition on this old Hit Parade receiver. So I've got one more little job that I want to do on this receiver before I start putting it back together, and that is straighten up the little bracket that holds the headphone socket, because I have noticed it is a little bit bent. Look, I'll get the camera in now. See there, that little bracket does look very bent. So I'll get my adjustable spanner, just set it to size, and then loosen up the nut on the headphone socket. And then I should get my long nose pliers and just bend that little bracket back into shape. That's all I'm going to do. It hasn't got to be perfect, that bracket, but it does look like it's bent in a bit. So that's all I'm going to do, just pull it back into shape. There you go, that looks better like that already. A little bit more. That's it, that looks good now, that little bracket, because it hasn't got to be perfect, it's hidden behind the faceplate. So I'll just tighten the little nut back up, and then we shall start putting this old vintage Hit Parade back together. So I'll just nip that nut up nice and tight. Don't need to overdo it, just nip it up so it feels tight. There you go, that'll do. One more little go. Right, there you go, that's nice and tight. So next, I'm going to ask for a little bit of advice on this receiver, because all the bulbs are blown in this one, so I did want to get some new bulbs for it. But all these bulbs have got written on them. I'll show you this one here. It just says 021. There is no voltage or anything like that wrote on the bulbs. So when I started looking on the computer to get some new bulbs for it, I didn't really know what I was looking for, what voltage I was looking for, or anything like that. And I found so many different types, and I was looking at LEDs and all sorts of different types of bulbs, but I really couldn't find nothing that was an exact match. And when I was thinking I'd get some LEDs because they looked really cheap, I wasn't exactly sure on what I needed to buy because there were so many different types. So I thought, oh, I'll leave the bulbs for now and get them later. And I'll ask the people on YouTube if one of them knows exactly what I need. because the thing I am learning since doing a YouTube channel is that the people who watch these videos are really clued up and very knowledgeable about these old amps and receivers. So I thought one of you lot at home will know exactly what bulbs I need to get hold of. So if you do know exactly what bulbs I need to buy to put in this receiver, can you message me and let me know, please? Thank you. Right, so let's start putting it back together. Now the first thing I'm going to do is put the faceplate on it. Now I've got to take this little nut off that's up here because I just put it back on temporary to hold that little bracket on so nothing got damaged while I was moving it about and doing it with the oxit. But the faceplate goes on underneath this little bracket, so I just need to take it off and then put it back on once the faceplate is on there. So I'll just get the faceplate and then I'll turn the receiver around so you can see what I'm doing. And I think with this faceplate you have to start on the corner up here because it's got a little angle bracket that goes over the top of a bolt. So you have to put that bit on first. So that little bracket goes onto that bolt and then you've just got to line it up with all the buttons and stuff and get the bottom into place. So just lift it up, makes it easier, and there you go, that went on easy actually. It was more fiddly getting it off than it was to put it back on. So I'll just turn it round and I'll put this little bracket back on, and that has got the little like radio reception part on it that tells you if you're tuning into a station. And I've actually put that on the wrong way round. It doesn't go like that, it goes like this. So that's it, that is back on now. So I'll just get the little nut and there's a little washer and just pop that back on and just spin it on there, and there you go, that's back on. So then there's 3 screws that hold this faceplate on as well, so I'll get my screwdriver and we'll put them screws in. So it's got one that goes down the bottom here, so just carefully get that in. There you go, that one's gone, so I'll just screw that up nice and tight. There you go, that one's tight. I'll get my adjustable spanner and just tighten this one up on the top here. And that's it, that's nice and tight. So I'll just turn it over and then do the same on the other side. There is just 2 screws to go in this side. So it's got one here right at the top through the little bracket, and then it's got the same again at the bottom. So I'll just get that one in, do it up nice and tight, and then just put this bottom one in, and then I shall screw it up nice and tight, and then that is it. That is all that holds on the faceplate on this Hit Parade. There is no nuts that go onto the pots or anything like that. It is just these 4 screws in the corners. So I'll just check that one, and then we shall put the receiver back into its little wooden cabinet. And all the cabinet does, it just slides on from the back, and then there is 4 screws that go through the feet and bolt into the chassis on the receiver, and that is all that holds the wooden cabinet on, just 4 bolts through the feet. So I'll just get the plug and slide that through the cabinet first, and then slide the little receiver back in it. And it goes that way up. I had it upside down. So that's it really, it just pushes on like that, and then just pull it back into place, and it's a tight fit on the faceplate, so that's it, just push it in. I can see the screws have lined up where the feet go, so that's all you need to do, and then screw the feet back on. And there's one little wooden panel that goes on the back, and then the hip parade is back together. Oh no, it's not. I haven't put the knobs on the front yet. So there's a little wooden panel at the back, and then the knobs to go on the front. Then it will be back together. So that's the first foot back on it. Let's get this second one in. Spin it down. Just tighten that one up. And then I shall turn it round and do exactly the same on the other side. And I'm going to be busy bidding later tonight, because I've got 4 things in my watch list and they all finish later on today. So I'm going to have a little bid if the prices are low on them. Now the first one is a NAD 7020. And that finishes about 8 o'clock. And then about 8:30 there is a Harman Kardon HK 450 that finishes. That is the one I really want to go after. I fancy that Harman Kardon. And then about 10 o'clock there is a Sansui 350 that finishes, and that looks in really nice condition, and it is just like a bigger version of the 310 that I've got. It does look very similar to the 310 Sansui that I've got. And then later on after that there is a Pioneer A333, which is a bit more modern. I think that Pioneer's from the 80s or the 90s. It's like a black amplifier. But all 4 of them need repair, so if I get any of them they will be on the channel. But I would really like to get hold of the Harman Kardon HK 450, because I've had the smaller version of that before. I've had the HK 360 and I really liked it, so this one is the next one up in the model range, so it should be a good receiver. And it'd be nice to get a few Harman Kardons for the channel, because I do really like the vintage Harman Kardon stuff. So I'll just thread the plug through this little wooden back panel and put that back on. And there's just 4 screws that hold this on. There should be 5, but I noticed when I took it off the one in the middle is missing. And tomorrow night there's a few more receivers that I've got in my watch list that finish tomorrow. There's a Yamaha, a CR400 Yamaha that looks quite good, that I might have a bid on if I don't buy anything tonight. And also there is a Rotel, I think it's an RX or an RA 400A. It's like a receiver, and that looks really nice because it's got pre-out and main in, so you can use that one as a preamp or a power amp. So it looks quite good, the Rotel. So if I don't get none tonight I might have a bid on the Yamaha or the Rotel tomorrow night. And I am still on the hunt for a Pioneer A400, because I really want one for the channel. And the one that finished really late the other night, I was well outbid on it. So I stayed up late the other night thinking that because it finished early hours of the morning, it would only make a low price. But I was very wrong on that one and I got well outbid. So I'll have to keep looking and wait until another one of them Pioneer A400s comes up for sale. So that's all the little screws in the back now. So they're in there all nice and tight. So that's it. I've just got to put the knobs back on the front, and then the little hit parade receiver will all be back together. So I'll just turn it over and just pop the knobs back on it. So I should put the tuning wheel back on it first. Just pop that one back on. Let's get the selector. Pop the selector back on. Make sure it's in the right position. Right, that's that one back on. Let's get the little treble knob back on. There you go. Pop the bass one on. Volume is next. Put the volume one on. And then the last one to do is just this balance knob. So just set that to the right position. Pop the little knob back on. And that's it. The hit parade is back together. So what I'm going to do now is plug it in and just let it warm up for 10 minutes. And then I'm going to do a DC offset test on the speaker terminals. Now this is a test that I don't normally do, but someone messaged me and said I really should be doing this test, because if you put speakers on one of these amps or receivers and they are kicking out a lot of DC voltage at the speaker terminals, they can damage or blow your speakers. So it only takes a minute, this test. So from now on, this will be a test that you see me do, just to be safe and make sure I don't blow any of my speakers up. So I shall just plug it in and turn the receiver on with the volume down and just let it warm up for 10 minutes and then do the test on it. So I'll just turn it on and then just leave it for 10 minutes because it has to warm up to give you an accurate test. So my tester is not really the best tester for doing this test, but when I spoke to my friend Clive about it, he said, no, your tester is okay at doing it. Just set it to 10, and then if my needle even goes up a little bit, I might have a bit of a problem. But if the needle doesn't move, then I'm fine. So while that's warming up for 10 minutes, I'm going to fit these DIN connectors on the speaker cable so I can plug them into the back of this receiver. And I have hunted the house out for these little DIN connectors because I knew I had them, but I just couldn't find them because I haven't had them for ages. But in the end, I did manage to find them. And they're quite good, these little connectors, because they're only cheap and they will take a half decent sized speaker cable, and you just push your cables into them and then tighten them up with the screws, and that's it. Your speaker cables have got DIN connections on the ends. And you can get the other type of DIN connections that you have to solder onto your speaker cables, and they are probably better if you've just got one amplifier and you are going to be using DINs forever. The ones that you solder on probably are the best ones to go for. But for me, I like these ones because I can just change them over to different cables or take them off if I want to use the cables on other amplifiers. And with these little DIN connectors, the small little round pin is your positive connection, and the bigger flat pin, that is your negative connection. So make sure if you're fitting these connectors that you put them the right way round. So let's just put the second one on, the little connector onto the speaker cable. Oh, and I do hope this hit parade is working now, James will be happy as well if this thing is making sound, because he's been really looking forward to getting this going, same as I have. Because when we was kids, I know I've said it before, but me and James, we had one of these and we used it loads. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how good or how bad this receiver sounds. Now, I do know it is not going to sound fantastic, but from what I can remember, the one we had years ago, it must have sounded half decent, because we had loads of amps and receivers when we was kids, and we'd listen to them a few times, and if they was no good, we'd get rid of it. But we kept this hit parade for years, so we must have liked the sound of it, else we would have got rid of it. So just tighten up them little screws on the DIN plug, and then they're fitted and the speakers are ready to connect as long as the DC test is good. So I'll just get my little tester, and like I said, this is not the best tester to do this because it's an analogue one and it only goes down to 10, when really for this test you want a digital one that goes down lower. But I haven't got one of them. All I have is this tester here that I have had for years. But my friend Clive did say that this tester is fine for the job as long as the needle doesn't move. It can move a tiny little bit, but if the needle goes up a few millimetres, I've probably got a problem and I shouldn't connect speakers to the amplifier. But if it moves like a millimetre or doesn't move at all, then I should be fine to put speakers on it. And there you go, the probes are in the terminals and that needle has not moved whatsoever. So that channel is fine, there is no DC coming out of that channel. So let's check this one. So that one's same again, the probes are in the other speaker terminals and that needle has not moved whatsoever. So I've got no DC coming out of my speaker terminals and I'm safe to connect speakers up to the little Hit Parade receiver. So let's do that. Let's connect up my solid speakers and see if the little Hit Parade is now back in action. So I'll just move the speakers out of the way. So turn the receiver off and then connect the speakers up with the little DIN plugs. So let's put the first one in. Just get it the right way round. There you go, that one's in. Get hold of the end of the other speaker cable. Plug that one in. And that is it. All systems go. We are ready for a sound check. Now I'm only going to do it on the radio and I'm not connecting an aerial up to it, so if I do find a station it's not going to be the best quality reception, but it still will show us if this is working on both channels or not. And hopefully both channels will be back working. I have been right through this with deoxit, so all the pots and that should be nice and clean on it. So let's turn it on, set everything up. Right, power on. Right, so it's on AM, so let's tune it in and see if it finds anything. It's not finding a lot at the minute. Let's give it a little bit more volume. Oh, it is trying to find something. I can hear it. I can hear a lot of crackle. It's not finding any stations, but it is trying. So let's try it on FM, see what it does. Here we go, here we go. See if we can get some music going on. There we go. Oh, the Hit Parade. She's making sounds. Happy days, the Hit Parade. Right, balance over there. Right, that channel's working. Right, turn it down. Let's try the other side. There you go, the Hit Parade. Oh, happy days, the Hit Parade is back in action. James is going to be so happy that I've got this one working. Oh, I'm looking forward to James coming round now. We're going to have a great night with this little receiver. So that's it, the hit parade, back in action. Oh, it's been a long time since I've heard one of these going. And you can't really judge the sound on that because it hasn't even got an aerial on it. And that was very crackly. But it does seem to be back in action. Both channels was working. The balance pot was working nice. So I do believe that other than it needing new bulbs put in it, the little hit parade is fixed. So that's another one that can be ticked off my rather long list of things that I need to repair. So that's another one off the list. And happy days, the hit parade seems to be working. So I'm going to ring James now and see if he wants to come round tonight for a little celebration beer. And we can have a little bit of a party and listen to the lovely tones of the vintage hit parade. So thank you for watching and I shall see you next time.